Hello, I'm Deborah and this is my craft shop. Over the next few months I want to help you turn your hobby into a business and give you all the advice I possibly can give you and have learned over the last 15 years. So the first thing is, how can you get your work into craft shops like mine or galleries? This is great for people who don't like selling their own work. It is really funny how many people hate selling their own work but are very good at selling other people's. And I can sell other people's work probably better than I could ever sell my own. So you're interested, you found a gallery, you think, I want my work in there, but just double check first. The first thing you need to do is go and visit the gallery. Trawl their websites, look at their Instagram pages, look at their Facebook pages. What can you pick up about the shop? When you visit, what's the vibe of the shop? Is it sort of urban, in a city centre? Is it rural? What sort of things do they sell? Can you see your product fitting in there? What's the price range? You know, if everything's really expensive and you're at the lower price bracket, then maybe not. You know, is there somebody who's already selling what you're selling, what you're making rather, and maybe they won't want you because they don't want to have too many people doing the same thing. So is there a gap in the market in that shop for you? Is the price right? Is the vibe right? If it is, brilliant. It may be worth talking to the owner of the shop if they're there, or whoever's working there if they're free and available, but I wouldn't do a heavy plug. Maybe you could mention in passing you're an artist, but I wouldn't make a bid at this point because it's too much pressure on the owner and you need to think carefully about what you're going to say. So I'd then leave the shop, and then the next plan is to write to the shop. So write an email. I keep this really short and sweet. In it, you want to say what you do, show some photographs as examples. I often find if I put the photographs, they're embedded in the actual email rather than attachments. It's just one less thing for the maker to do, and also it can grab their attention, especially if they're before the writing in the email. So I might put one at the top and then one at the bottom. Put the pictures of your bestseller in there, just a few, you don't need to go crazy. And then you might want to give the owner some idea of where you sell now, give links to your Facebook post, your Instagram page, wherever you sell now. In the email, ask if you can arrange a meeting. This is so much better than just turning up. In fact, never turn up. There's nothing worse than someone turning up unexpectedly and just taking up time and expecting, because the person's in the shop, that they've got time for you. The shop may be busy and it's obvious they haven't got time, but sometimes the shop could be quiet and, you know, I am in the middle of doing some paperwork, reports, tax return, payroll, something like that, and I don't really want to be disturbed by someone who's just selling their wares without prior arrangement. And I'm not really prepared for it, so I just think it makes much more sense to have an arranged meeting. So you get to this arranged meeting. What do? You walk into the shop like this, and I would suggest you take a couple of items. Don't bring a portfolio of work and then spread it around the shop, getting in everybody's way. It's almost too much for the owner to take in. Bring a couple of examples. If you want to show them a wider range of work or a bit more, then do have some photographs. Have the photographs in a file on your phone so they're easily accessible. I have stood there for minutes watching people scrolling down their phone past all the holiday photos and photos of grandchildren to finally get to a poor quality photograph of some crochet their daughter did or something. It's not a great start. My attention's gone by then. So make sure they're really good photographs and they're accessible and you're not wasting anyone's time. When you're in the shop, please be aware that there are customers there and they will always take precedent. I have had people come in who have spread their work all over the place, got in the way of customers from looking at other products in the shop, and then carried on talking to me when a customer's come to the till to buy something. If that was their work the customer's trying to buy, I'm sure they would be quiet, but because they don't have the respect for other people's work. So make sure you know when to back off a little bit, to stop talking, how much to take, physically how much space are you taking in the shop. Be aware of what's happening around you. Now, you're going to be nervous. You are. This is your baby. You've made these things and you're giving them to someone else to look at and judge. You're nervous. I get that. Most gallery owners will understand that and hopefully will be sympathetic to you and, let you down gently if they have to, or whatever. Also remember, there's sometimes the shopkeeper's nervous as well, because they don't really know what you're going to show them, and they don't always know how they're going to handle it, and it can just be a tricky situation for everyone. So, you know, just be as pleasant as you can be, communicate well, and try and get some links to the owner, and, you know, just be as friendly as possible. At the end of the day, the owner of the shop wants to know that you're a person who is organised, professional, aware of their role and your role, and is approachable, and that you could form a really good working relationship together. So don't underestimate the chat. It doesn't always have to be about the work. Just make a personal connection to that gallery owner. They may say, we don't want you. And in the past, I've had people say, oh, you didn't want me. And, you know, and sometimes it isn't that simple. Hi there, just thought I'd pop on at the end of the day, probably looking a little less fresh than I did this morning, but a really busy day and lots of customers coming in, so really good. But I just thought I'd pop on. I've got a couple more things to say about the meeting. So when you're at the meeting with the gallery owner, do ask about the terms and conditions. Some galleries run on a sale of return basis and some on a wholesale basis. So you need to see if that matches with what you like to do. And you can discuss how long you're likely to be in the shop. Some people have a fast turnover and people are invited for 2 months or a month at a time. Other people, you're in there permanently until it doesn't work for one of you. So the other thing to do is to just be careful when you go in a bid to really push your products, that you don't criticise anybody else's. I did have a customer who came in very enthusiastic about her husband's work, but unfortunately that meant, in her terms, that she went round and criticised all the other woodworkers that I'd already chosen for the shop, which is a sort of criticism of me. Didn't go down very well. So, you know, don't cast judgment on anybody else in the shop. Otherwise, it just seems very critical. So, in summary, be friendly, be enthusiastic, professional, and then hopefully this will be the start of a great working partnership. If you liked my vlog, please subscribe to my channel. This is my very first one, and like it. And hopefully this will be the start of many more, and I can help you on your crafting, making journey. Thank you. Bye.